A lot of black families aren't struggling financially because they're lazy. They aren't falling behind because they lack intelligence. And they definitely aren't having a hard time saving because they enjoy wasting money. That's a story we've heard for years, but it doesn't match reality. When you grow up watching money disappear faster than it comes in, when a single unexpected expense can erase months of progress, when you're helping relatives, covering household bills, dealing with rising prices, and trying to hold everything together, even when you're overwhelmed, saving doesn't feel like a routine. It feels almost impossible. And that's one of the biggest misconceptions in personal finance. Too many people are told they have a discipline problem when what they really have is a survival problem. So today we're going to talk about why saving feels so difficult in so many black households. More importantly, we're going to talk about how to break out of that cycle without guilt, without unrealistic financial advice, and without pretending everyone started from the same place. A lot of personal finance advice is written for people who already have breathing room, people with savings, people whose parents had savings, people who got help paying for college, buying a car, covering rent, or putting money down on a home, people who grew up in households where money wasn't always in crisis. For many black families, that simply wasn't the starting point. According to the Federal Reserve, the typical black family had a median net worth of about $24,100 in 2019, compared with roughly $188,200 for the typical white family. By 2022, median wealth had increased to around $44,900 for black families, while white families had about $285,000. That isn't just a budgeting gap. It's a completely different starting line. When people hear the phrase wealth gap, they often picture expensive homes or luxury lifestyles. But wealth isn't about showing off. Wealth is your financial shock absorber. It's what keeps a car repair from becoming a disaster. It's what prevents a medical bill from turning into high-interest credit card debt. It's what allows you to keep paying your bills after losing a job. It's what gives your children opportunities you never had. Without that cushion, every setback costs more. Every delay hurts more. Every emergency feels bigger. Research from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau found that 41% of black consumers had no emergency savings at all, compared with 19% of white consumers. Only 50% of black consumers had at least 1 month's worth of income saved for emergencies, while 43% of white consumers did. That tells us something important. For many people, the problem isn't that they don't understand how to save. The problem is that after paying for the basics, there's almost nothing left. That's why I want this message to really sink in. If saving has always felt difficult, that doesn't automatically mean you're bad with money. Sometimes it means you've been working against financial realities that make saving much harder than most people realize. There's another part of this conversation that often gets ignored because it's uncomfortable. Some families pass down wealth. Others pass down unpaid bills, financial stress, eviction histories, damaged credit, medical debt, and the constant feeling that money can disappear at any moment. That emotional inheritance can shape your financial life just as much as money itself. Research from Brookings and the Federal Reserve shows that black households are less likely to receive inheritances, less likely to have large cash reserves, and less likely to have relatives who can step in with emergency financial support. Brookings also found that in 2019, the average liquid assets held by black households were around $1,400 compared with about $8,100 for white households. White families were also far more likely to say they could quickly borrow $3,000 from relatives or close friends if an emergency came up. So when someone asks, why don't people just save more? My answer is simple, because some people are saving for tomorrow, while others are fighting every day just to make it through today. So how do you begin changing that? The first step is to stop thinking of saving as some glamorous financial milestone. Saving isn't about impressing anyone. It's a form of protection. It's not about posting your account balance online or pretending everything is perfect. It's about giving yourself time, giving yourself choices, and giving yourself peace of mind when life throws something unexpected your way. In my opinion, the first real financial victory isn't reaching your first $10,000 in savings. It's reaching the point where one unexpected expense no longer sends you into panic mode. That's the goal. Not perfection, not looking successful, not impressing people. The real goal is living with less financial stress. If you're just getting started, here's the approach I'd recommend. Start by building a survival fund, not your ultimate emergency fund. Don't tell yourself you need 6 months of living expenses when holding on to even $600 feels impossible. That's a goal for later. Right now, focus on the next realistic milestone. Save your first $500, then work toward one full paycheck. After that, aim for 1 month's worth of essential expenses. Small victories create confidence. Goals that feel impossible usually create frustration. Next, make your savings harder to access. Don't leave your emergency money sitting in the same checking account you use for groceries, gas, online shopping, and everyday spending. Move it into a separate savings account, ideally one that's not connected to your debit card. Keeping it out of sight isn't a lack of discipline. It's a smart way to protect yourself from impulsive decisions. Then, automate whatever amount you can. A lot of people think automatic saving only matters if you're setting aside hundreds of dollars every month. That's simply not true. If all you can manage is $15, $20, or $25 from each paycheck, automate it anyway. The habit matters long before the amount does. A simple system you follow consistently will always outperform motivation that disappears after a few days. Another important step is making your budget reflect real life. If you're the person your family calls when someone needs help, stop treating those expenses like unexpected surprises. Create a category for them. Call it family support, helping relatives, or whatever makes sense to you. If it keeps happening, it's no longer an exception. It's part of your financial reality. A good budget should reflect the life you actually live, not the life you wish you had. Then focus on fixing the leaks, not just cutting spending. Sometimes the biggest problem isn't buying coffee or eating out once in a while. It's overdraft fees, high-interest debt, buy now, pay later payments, late charges, overpriced insurance, prescriptions you forgot about, or a car payment that's consuming too much of your monthly income. That's where meaningful progress often comes from, not by eliminating every small pleasure, but by removing the financial traps that quietly drain your money month after month. And finally, make increasing your income a priority. It may not be the most exciting advice, but sometimes you've already cut everything you reasonably can. At that point, the next breakthrough doesn't come from spending less. It comes from earning more. Negotiate for a raise. Look for a better-paying job. Learn a valuable skill. Start a side business. Offer a service. Earn a certification that increases your value in the marketplace. Managing money becomes much easier when there's actually money left to manage. And I want to say something that's incredibly important. Shame has never built wealth. Shame makes people ignore their bank accounts. Shame makes people avoid looking at the numbers. Shame encourages people to pretend everything is fine. Shame often leads to emotional spending, which only creates more regret afterward. What actually builds wealth is honesty. Being honest about where you are today. Honest about what's draining your finances. Honest about what you can truly afford. Honest about whether you're spending to build your future or simply trying to feel better for one evening. You are not behind because you started later than someone else. You are not broken because saving has been difficult, and you are not destined to struggle because nobody in your family showed you how to build wealth. You may simply be the first person in your family determined to break a financial cycle that existed long before you were born. And that's a legacy worth building.